Hello there, my zealots. This is Joshua coming at you today. What's up? I want to talk to you today about. I've talked about the end times, but I always talk about the end times coming from a biblical perspective or from a Christian's perspective. And, and I wanted to go over that too, but I also wanted to share with you what it would be like to be from a person that actually has to live through the end times. Because as Christians, we don't actually have to live through it. We have to live right up to it, but we don't have to endure tribulation. So from a Christian's perspective, this is how it would go, specifically starting from our time, like from today, moving forward. From what I have gathered, and this is all everything I have extrapolated from not only seismic or like biblical research, seismic research, technological research, anything that I can get, biological. I mean, everything across the board. I've kind of anything that I believe that fits with scripture, I'm throwing in here to try and give a broader scope or a better picture of what's supposed to be coming. So from a Christian's perspective, this is what I have extrapolated to happen. That will happen. Okay. By the year, machines will increase in their ability to to be more and more intelligent, until they reach a conscious level of intelligence. And by the year 2029, machines will have reached a human level of intelligence. Okay, that means that they are able to pass what is known as a Turing test. And a Turing test is basically if I had, 5 random people texting me at the same time, one of those is a machine, I wouldn't be able to tell which one is the machine. I just wouldn't. It'd be impossible. Because they would be able to interact with me in a way that I wouldn't be able to distinguish between a human or not. And I could interact with them. I'd be like able to text them whatever I wanted, and they'd have to text me back, and I would have to be able to distinguish which one was the robot and which one wasn't. Anyway, so by the year 2029, machines reach human level of intelligence. After that, machines start to take over human jobs, and we start to put our faith and trust in them. Every 18 months after that, they double. That means they go from twice as intelligent as a human, to 4 times as intelligent as a human, to 8 times intelligent as a human, to 16 times intelligent as a human, to 32, 64, 120. You get the point. So it gets to the point where it gets ridiculous quickly. Okay. At a certain point, and I'm not specifically sure when this happens, but it has to be somewhere between 2029 and 2045. In that gap, and the reason is because the exponential increase of technology will get to the point where it is unstoppable. It'll be like, it'll reach near infinity in almost no time. So there will be a point where mankind has put all their faith and trust in machines, and they will worship machines as if it is a god. It will be like an idolater. They will finally have created, mankind will have finally created a god, and they will worship it. Okay. And then at that point, God will then remove the sons after they receive tremendous amounts of persecution from the world. God will remove all of his sons from the earth, and then he will pop the cork. And then what that means is that there's going to be a huge eruption. I believe it's going to be Yellowstone. It gets exploded and just destroys every technological thing on the planet, wiping out billions of people. And a third of the world's population gets decimated, because he says, I will destroy the world with fire. And that is going to be the way. There's a way to destroy the world with fire. Fire, they get destroyed, utterly destroyed by fire. Now, when we leave this, there's going to be 7 years of nuclear winter. And this is the thing, scientific data shows that there's going to be if Yellowstone erupts, there will be 7 years of a volcanic winter. And that means that you won't be able to see, the sun and moon shall be dark and the stars shall withdraw their shining. You won't be able to see the sun or the moon. All right. And there'll be widespread pestilence, famine, war, and death, just raw death. And those are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Okay. Well, the 4 horsemen. Anyway, so that's going to happen during tribulation. There's going to be this widespread destruction. Okay, now that is how God will then destroy this machine. Now, we then come back after 7 years, and take back the planet. And then those Christians that were there were raised from the dead. And we spend 1,000 years just raising up people from the dead. And that would be the vast multitude at the beginning that had to survive tribulation, the billions of people that there's going to be a lot of Christians that convert after that time, and then they get raised from the dead after they're persecuted. And then there's the 144,000 at the very end, which were Jews before Jesus Christ. They get raised from the dead. And then we have what is known as the Satan gets released and fools the nations. So what does this mean, to fool the nations? And the nations are deceived and they rise up against God. Well, it can't be the servant. It can't be the sons of God, which are the kings. It can't be the multitude because they've already been raised from the dead. It can't be the 144,000. It's not Jesus Christ. So who are these nations? Well, it's an interesting point. So let's go back. Okay, let's go back. So the sons of God leave the planet and then pop, okay, Yosemite explodes and everybody dies, right? Well, it's a third of the world's population dies. A third, just wiped out. If we have 9 billion people, that means 3 billion people die. That's a lot of people dead, okay? So 3 billion people get wiped off the planet. Okay, now that means that there are still 6 billion people left on the planet, and they start fighting for resources. If there's 7 years, so the United States is completely wiped out because Yellowstone explodes. It's just completely annihilated. Now the rest of the countries have to fight for whatever resources are there because they can't grow crops. There's no clean water. There's, anything that has been stored is what you're going to be fighting over. Okay, you're going to be fighting over all the stored food and materials and all that stuff. And you have to survive 7 years in this horrible, horrible place. And so for 7 years, you're trying to find suitable water, suitable food, shelter, and it's going to be cold, super cold, because the sun won't be able to break through the huge ash cloud that has covered the entire earth. Okay, so there are going to be people that survive that. Now, there's going to be people that are Christians that will survive that, and they will be persecuted to death. They will be wiped off the planet. They will be beheaded for the name of Christ. And then after that, they will have the nuclear winter will end. And then Jesus Christ will come back with his son, with the servants, or with the kings. And it says that the Lord shall himself descend from the heavens with the voice of the shout of the archangel and the trump of God. Oh, sorry, that's different. Sorry, it's in Joel. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And okay, so no, that's in Revelations. Anyway, the mighty men, they shall run to and fro. They shall climb upon the windows like a thief. They shall enter into the windows like in the night. They shall run to and fro, and they shall fall upon the sword, and they shall not be wounded. They shall march everyone in their way, and they shall not break their ranks. Anyway, so there's these armies that come, and the land is the garden even before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, nothing shall escape them. This is the thing. The desolate wilderness is behind them because they skipped all that, and then they're coming to bring forth the Garden of Eden. Okay, they're like, okay, let's bring it here, and then they have to conquer the people that are there in rebellion against God, and they don't have much left to fight with because they just got annihilated by this massive explosion. So there will be people that will rebel or will fight against the sons of God, and eventually they will all anybody that rebels will get slicked. All right, they will get wiped out. However, there will be those that will say, sorry, my bad, I submit. I'm not going to fight you. This is ridiculous. I'm going to die. If you do that, I just give up. I give up. White flag it. Please don't kill me. And those people get grace. Okay, they get to survive. Because God's not going to force himself on anybody, and he's not going to condemn somebody if they're humble, right? He's going to let them survive. So after that 1,000 years of peace, so Jesus Christ lands in Jerusalem, and the sons of God start raising up the multitude that died and did not take the mark of the beast and did not have the mark of the beast in their hand or in their head. And these people that were beheaded for Christ's sake get raised from the dead. Now, everybody that survived that, they will then proliferate and they will disseminate throughout the world and start raising up nations. And over 1,000 years, they will not have come up against Jerusalem because they're like, no, we remember what happened. We are not going to do that. Kind of like Egypt got slicked by Moses and the servants and the Jews. he got slicked by them. So in a similar way, the nations of the world are like, don't mess with those guys. That's a bad idea. Let's not do that. And so they don't. But after 1,000 years, Satan gets released, they get deceived, and they try and come back at the sons of God, or against the kingdom of God, and God himself comes down and just says, enough, whack, and smites them all. And then we have the resurrection of the unjust and people that are unbelievers, and they all get raised from the dead, and each is judged according to the works. And if they are righteous, they get everlasting life as a serf. And if they are unrighteous, they get thrown into the lake of fire, which is now in the middle of the United States, which is known as the caldera in Yellowstone. And they get thrown into that lake of fire, and they are permanently destroyed. So that is what I have pieced together through all my research as what the end times is going to be. And from not only from a Christian perspective, but from a worldly perspective. The people that are of this world are going to have to endure tribulation. And if they survive the tribulation, they're going to have to endure the war with the sons of God. And if they humble themselves to the sons of God, then they get to rebuild society for 1,000 years. And then after that 1,000 years is up, then they get deceived. They come up against God, and God smacks them. And then they get raised from the dead, and then they all get judged. And that's it. That's the end of the story. So anyway, I hope this blesses you. I'm Joshua. You know I love God because I love virtue, justice, and salvation. Saturdays, 10 o'clock, we have the live stream. Be there or be square. Pacific Standard Time, so don't forget that. Click, share, subscribe. Click the dingy thingy so you get annotated or you get announcements when I post. I started my Instagram. My Instagram is God Blam. So if you want to check it out, I'm there. And then I'm starting to post stuff on Twitter. Twitter and Instagram is mostly just me just putting what I do throughout the day on it. So it's not like anything else. My primary teaching venue is this and Facebook. So anyway, I'm Joshua. You guys have a great day. Thank you for showing up, and I will see you later.